Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of I2I Live, and this is our weekly Disney Hangout. Thank you for being here, whether you're watching this live here on YouTube, or you may be watching this on the replay on YouTube as well. Regardless of how you got here, we really appreciate you spending a few minutes of your time with us just to hang out, have fun, and hopefully, especially if you're watching live, chat and converse with me a little bit about what's going on in the world of Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, pop culture. We try to stay in the Disney spectrum, but sometimes we venture out into other areas. But that is where we would like to stick tonight for the most part. So on our weekly Disney Hangouts, I usually have a topic prepared for us. If you didn't see already, the topic that I had prepared is for us to discuss the Magic Happens parade that is coming to Disneyland this week. Discuss a little bit about what we think about that, some of the floats, and maybe we'll get into some other stuff. This is always, anytime we have a live stream, we always have a goal in mind, but this is mainly produced by you and for you. So if you have something you'd rather talk about, something you'd rather get my opinions or impressions on, that is obviously something that we can do as well, because we always love talking and hearing from you, because it's just more fun that way. I mean, isn't it? So I'll say hello real quick to some people that I've seen jump in the chat with already. Juan Rodriguez is here. Thank you, sir, for being here. He says, Razzle Dazzle Elliott? Razzle Dazzle Elliott? What am I missing there? Something that's just outside of my my understanding there, Juan. And you put up some kind of sparkles and a dragon. Is this Elliot the dragon, like Pete's dragon? What does that have to do with anything? I'm struggling to understand here. Knott's Berry Farm has started their Snoopy and Charlie Brown celebration. It's a little bit outside the Disney spectrum, but okay. You know, I've never been to a Knott's Berry Farm. I will say that. Don't judge me too hard, because I very rarely get outside my Disney bubble, because we do a YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm just doing a couple other things here on my other things I've got going on in the background that you can't see. Trying to manage a bunch of things all at once. You know, you do all this preparation to make sure everything is lined up just how you want it, set up perfectly, and it just never works exactly how you think it will. Anyway, I'm going to stop complaining about that, though. So, if there's anything that's on your mind in terms of Disney news, stuff to talk about, obviously one thing that I think is very prevalent on all of our minds, whether you are affected by it, hopefully not, have people you know affected by it, or eventually are just seeing the massive epidemic that's happening across this country, not the country, but the world right now over there in Asia, and then I think a few cases over here. The coronavirus, which is obviously a big scare right now. Jessica, my wife, who is the other half of I2I, who is not here, because this is just my thing I do on Monday nights. She is a nurse, and so she deals with this stuff all the time. She's always in the know about these things. So I'm not panicking, and you better know that if I knew something, I'd be panicking, so I don't think you should panic too. Still, it doesn't negate from how serious it is, and it's so serious that Disney has shut down not one, two of their parks right now because of this coronavirus. It is crazy. Like the amount, for Disney to shut any park down, that's a big deal. They wouldn't even shut a park down with an approaching hurricane, let alone, this is a huge, huge epidemic right now. So huge implications for a business, but huge implications for us as humans as well. And as you guys are coming in, please do make sure you smash that like button. And if you feel led to, please also share it out on social media. I love having more people to be part of the conversation tonight. Juan says, let me bring his window up here. He says, I was able to try some of the food for Disney California Adventure Chinese New Year celebration. You know, I've seen a lot about that one, Juan, the Chinese New Year celebration, that being. What's your thoughts and impressions on it? Please let me know in there. You know, Disney is not afraid to do a festival, a celebration, a event. They will not. They are the master marketers, and if they can find a way to market something and turn it into something for themselves, that not that they're obviously, you know, do anything nefarious by celebrating the Chinese New Year, and I think it fits a lot out there in California, where there is a larger Chinese population out there. But I do think we could do with a little of that in the China Pavilion here. I would love for them to do more things with the World Showcase in celebrating the other nations. And frankly, I'd like them to expand the World Showcase. There's that little section over there that's like I don't even know what you call it at this point. It's like it's supposed to be Africa, but it's not. It's really, it's just like this like stop in between the bridges and over there to, I think it's Germany next, in between China and Germany. I don't get it. Just put something there. We need something there. Brazil, I think, is a great choice. We talked about this a lot here on the show. Brazil's, I think, is a great choice. Australia. There's another like sad story out there with what's going on in Australia still. I'd like to see some South American representation in there as well. So I think Brazil, honestly. And, I think Israel would be a good one to throw in there as well. Just something different. I think it would be a nice, and they can obviously work Hanukkah into there as well. Be a great addition there. Juan has given us perspectives of what he thinks about the Chinese New Year celebration. The food is super yummy and all the Chinese New Year decor is cool. Plus we get dragon puppeteers. Now I understand where the dragon stuff that you were, mentioning earlier comes into play now. Let's see. But Kurt Russell is never around when it turns into Big Trouble in Little China. That's a bad joke there, sir. That's a bad joke. Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I would hope that if ever Disney is going to do a event like that they're going to do it well and that they're going to actually make it worthwhile and not just phone it home is the expression that I'm looking for there. So good. I'm glad that they're there. All right. So I think we've kind of waited enough for those that usually get here about this time to kind of have time to get here, but please keep the chat going. Make sure you are smashing that like button, and sharing it out as we go along here. But a couple of things before we get into our main topic here, and something I'd like, how about this? I'm going to share a couple of things from our channel that I want to bring your attention to that we'll talk more about at the end of this stream. But, tell me this, if you've seen the Magic Happens floats, which one's your favorite? Right now, if you've seen any of the concept art for them, they have not been released just yet in terms of actually out floating around. You see what I did there? Floats, floating. If you have a favorite one thus far, let me know right now. So let me just run through a couple of quick things for you all here on our little rundown of what's going on our channel. We'll talk more about all this at the end. We have a Clone Wars trailer reaction up now if you have not had a chance to check that out. Our last trivia night was about the new Epcot show's Awesome Planet, Beauty and the Beast sing-along in Canada. I'll give you a link to that if you want to go watch the replay of that. Tonight we'll also be announcing the theme for a new trivia night this Thursday, so you do not want to miss that, my friends. We'll also talk about our Facebook group, Disney Through Your Eyes, at the end. And those are the announcements I have here on the channel. Mouse Talk is in the house. What's up, Walt and Melissa? I never know if it's like, if I should just, I feel like I can assume it's Walt because Melissa pops in on her own thing every now and again. But I don't want to ever like not include Melissa. But thank you for being here, Walt. Appreciate it. You guys coming to hang out tonight. Mouse Talk says Sword in the Stone was his favorite. I have to agree, sir. And Coco, Juan says. So we got some opinions right there. Here's the thing. I'm really excited about these floats. And when I pitched this video, this stream, as we're going to just chat about it. But I love to have like a goal in mind. It's just the way I operate. It's just how my mind goes. I want to do sort of a ranking of what we've seen. Now, again, this is a ranking based off of, only seeing concept art, not seeing the actual floats yet. But I'd like to look at them. We'll go through my ranking and then talk about each one of them and kind of give your thoughts and impressions about, how about this? I'm kind of doing this on the fly now. I'm obviously going to be ranking them, but as we go through my rankings, how, like, out of a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you like the one as I bring it up? Now, 1's going to be a little bit challenging because there's a bunch of them all there together, but, we'll deal with that when it comes. We just fly by the seat of our pants here sometimes. All right, so that's how the format of this is going to be. Obviously, at any point, if there's something else that you'd love to be talking about or get my commentary on or just bring up, please do so in the comments section. That is not a problem. This is just meant for us to have a goal in mind. As I said, I'm goal oriented to talk about some things tonight. So again, as a reminder, we are talking about Magic Happens, which is the brand new parade coming to Disneyland this week. It's really cool concept art that we'll be going through and ranking and getting some impressions of myself, but hopefully some impressions of all of you as well as we go along through the list of them here. So when I was looking at the floats and coming up with my ranking, it's a bit of a challenge because all the floats aren't exactly the same. And when I say the same, obviously they're not the same because they have different themes, but they have what I would call different tiers, a tier 1 and a tier 2 based off what we've seen. And I feel like it would be unfair to compare the tier 2 ones, in my opinion, to the tier 1s because there's a lot more to the tier 1s as opposed to the tier 2. So what I've done is I've included the tier 2s, but they're obviously going to be number 5 on my list. So we'll start right there. Here is, starting my ranking of the Disney floats, is the tier 2 ones altogether that we've had revealed. And I may be missing some from my concept art. I don't think so. But, these are the ones that I was able to scrounge up on the internet. So in the photo I have here, we have Princess and the Frog. And you can see all of these are smaller in nature. Each has their own unique design, but they're meant to be smaller. Princess and the Frog with, with Tiana and Naveen. Cinderella. You've got Maui, Sword in the Stone with Merlin and Arthur, or Wart, as he was called in that. So just because they're smaller, they don't fit. You can't really compare them to the ones we're going to get to in a second. It's not fair to them. But I'd have to say, if you're going to ask me to, really pick one out of all these, I'd love to hear. How about that? I'll pose that question to everybody here. Out of these 4 right here, which one do you like the best? For me, I think this is a really obvious answer. Just be honest. I think the Sword in the Stone. I think for several reasons, because Sword in the Stone doesn't get a lot of love in the parks. Aside from King Arthur's Regal Carousel in Disneyland, the actual Sword in the Stone in Fantasyland at both parks. Can anybody else think of Sword in the Stone? Like attractions, theming? I'm blanking on them in the parks that we're missing. But I love it that the Sword in the Stone is getting some love finally. You're seeing Disney do that a lot. If you noticed when they came out with Happily Ever After, they were giving love to a lot of the 90s stuff, but especially some of the more, I won't say obscure, but like just not ones that never got a lot of attention. Hunchback of Notre Dame is a great example. It's a very prominent piece in the Happily Ever After show, and that's why I really love it. Juan asks, why is Sorcerer Mickey dresses in oil slick colors? That doesn't happen in the movie Fantasia. I don't know. I really don't. Juan also says his favorite is the Sword in the Stone one. I think you and I are going to agree on a lot on this group of picks here. But yeah, I say of that group right there, Sword in the Stone is definitely my favorite. Now, I'll bring it back up one more time here just so that we can have it to talk about. Nothing against, I just don't get super excited about the princesses. I do love the Princess and the Frog kind of in the mangroves or the willows of the bayou there. That looks really cool. And I think, too, the thing that you have to think about with these floats is what are they going to do besides just float along? It's obviously the characters are going to be there, waving at you and doing their little romantic-y things, obviously, with Princess and the Frog one. But, what are the floats going to do themselves? I think with these tier 2 ones, there's not going to be a lot going on except for I could see like the willow things in Princess and the Frog waving back a little bit. Probably the pumpkin thing that's surrounding Cinderella may rotate. I'm just speculating here. The palm trees for Maui will probably be kind of swaying back and forth. animatronic wise. And I don't really know what Merlin will, or excuse me, the Sword in the Stone one will do besides just have the characters interact. Maybe it just twists around as he's trying to yank it out. I don't know. I just really don't know. Let me pull this out here. And Mouse Talk also says should be more Sword in the Stone. I think it's a great one. Some great characters, Madame Mim, Merlin, Archimedes. Somebody on a podcast recently I was listening to was talking about Archimedes and how much they loved him. Maybe it was, he's not here right now, but Jeff Bates stole it, Dad. I think maybe on his stream they were talking about Archimedes. Somebody, or maybe was it you guys? Walt? Mouse Talk? Somebody was recently. I was on one of their streams. They were talking about it. And he also brings up another great point. I want Great Mouse Detective. So here's the thing. I don't know if you played the board game Villainous. It's a board game based on the Disney villains. They finally put Ratigan in it, which is interesting. I haven't played with him yet, his version of the game. But yeah, Mouse Detective doesn't get a lot of love, and I think it's hard for Disney to give love to another mouse that's not Mickey or Minnie. And I would love to see it happen some way, Walt, but if you have an idea, please share it here if you have what they could do to work it in. But I just don't know, maybe a dark ride of some sort, but that kind of would have the same feel, I feel like, of Peter Pan being in London. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess you could, if they didn't do Mary Poppins, they could have done the Great Mouse Detective dark ride in the London pavilion, the England pavilion in Epcot. All right, let's move on to, this is my top 5-ish. So that first one was number 5, and that one was the group of kind of tier 2 ones all together. You can't really compare them, and I don't think they can really hold a candle to what the other ones do. But let's talk about it and see what you think about it. So my number 4 would be, if it'll come up, there it is. And it's a little bit cut off there, so you'll see me talking a little bit below. Let's move that down just a bit. There we go. So you can see right here, I'm struggling for words to really think about what this one should be, or what to expect out of this one. I mean, like I said, for me, this is my personal top 5 list. I have a hard time getting really excited about the princesses, other than like Aladdin and Jasmine. They're kind of my like dynamic duo of the princesses kind of thing. But I can see where this float is going to be really cool, but I only think that they get better after this point. I mean, if you look at this one and kind of think about, obviously, the characters that are going to be there, the 3 fairies, Prince Philip and Aurora, or Briar Rose, whichever you want to call it. Quick poll. How about quick poll of the room? Briar Rose or Aurora? Which name do you prefer? I would say Aurora. Of course, I was about to say Briar Rose is hard to say, but so is Aurora. Aurora. I feel like I'm like rolling my R's or something like that. But yeah, quick poll. Aurora or Briar Rose? Yeah, so I would say this one's great in all, but I can see maybe the turrets of the castle are going to spin a little bit. Probably the things are going to be waving. I like articulation of elements of a float outside of the actual characters. So I'm going to be interested to see what that one does. But it definitely falls at number 4 for me there. I don't know why that one just like shot out of there like that. Pamela's in the house. Thanks for making it, Pamela. She said, I'm actually here. My plans changed again, so yay, I made it. Good. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming on in. So everybody say hello to Pamela here. Pamela, answering the question I asked, says she prefers Aurora. I feel like I have to slow down more when I say Aurora. Briar Rose. Briar Rose. Walt says I'm fine with either. That just gets confusing though, Walt. You got to pick one. Pick one, my buddy. But anyway, so that was my number 4 in my top 5 of the Disney Magic Happens floats. So we'll keep moving right along here. So let me move that comment real quick. And Moana, there she is. I don't know why it's like delayed on coming up this time, but there's the Moana one. I really love this float. The thing is, the ones that are coming up after it, I think I'm going to love even more. I could be wrong, But to me, like I was talking about, when I am ranking these and talking about how excited I may be or may not be about these floats and seeing them someday, I'm thinking about what other elements are going on in the floats. And so obviously we'll have Moana probably singing and dancing and doing her sailing things on that boat there. You can tell if you look at the wave that there's going to be some type of screen action going on there with probably some ocean animals swimming in the wave. But aside from that, I don't really see an opportunity for there to be a lot of articulation or extra elements other than this screen aspect of the Magic Happens float for Moana. So that's why it kind of, as cool, just looking at this concept art looks for me. I just can't really get as excited about it because it's, it is what it is. Let me pull this down real quick. Walt said Aurora. He finally picked one. Thank you. Now I don't have to be confused. And I think it's worth bringing up. But Pamela says, I know this isn't Disney related, but did you hear about Coco Rhino? Yes, of course I did. I mean, who hasn't heard about it? Very, very sad. And it is Disney related because he's a huge Disney fan. He came to the Disney parks a lot, from what I understand. Walt even agrees, yes, very sad. So, yes, I do think it's worth us bringing it up and, wishing our condolences. And for my, I don't know where everybody else stands on this aspect, but I believe in prayer and the power of it. Our prayers are extended to the Bryant family, namely his wife, Vanessa, and their 3 remaining kids. Terrible, awful tragedy that happened there. And it's times like these we need to rally around them. And obviously the thousands and millions of us around the world that are mourning for him don't know them each personally, but we can, express our sadness in other ways. So I'll be honest, I was not a huge Kobe Bryant fan in terms of as a basketball player because he was always at beating the teams I rooted for. But it is still very sad to see an icon like that leave in such a tragic way. And even more so now that one of his daughters went with him. So yeah, it's just very sad all the way around. But thank you for bringing it up. It is worth mentioning. See a couple more people are coming in. As you guys are coming in, please do make sure you smash that like button. But let's keep moving on. So as review, going through my ranking of the Magic Happens floats, number 5 was that group of 4, what I call tier 2 floats that can't really compete with the other ones because they're smaller. Then it was the Sleeping Beauty one. We just got done with Moana. She was number 3. So number 2, it'll come up. There it is. Someone already mentioned it earlier. Coco. I love the movie Coco. It is, in my opinion, which is often wrong, is the best Pixar movie, bar none. And this I'm wearing it. I'm wearing a Toy Story t-shirt tonight. I love my Toy Story. I have a lot of Toy Story things behind me. Don't have any Coco things, I think. But Coco, to me, is the best Pixar movie. And it deserves more attention. And it deserves a bigger place in the parks. Hopefully someday we'll be seeing that come to maybe the Mexico Pavilion in a re-theming of the water ride they have there. We've seen a marionette-style show out in California Adventure. But Coco is getting afloat. And look at that! How cool is the Golden Bridge that they walk over from the land of the dead there? I can just see, obviously you'll have... I'm trying to think here. You'll have animatronics for Hector and Imelda. I forget her name. But those characters up at the top in the Day of the Dead on that stage. But I think Miguel will be... He'll be a real younger person, not as in obviously old enough to work for Disney, but I think it'll be someone shorter and actually a live performer, which I think will be cool to have animatronics and to have a live actor there working as well. I bet you the dog will be an animatronic, but to see that Golden Bridge and how they're going to do that element is going to be super cool. It's going to be really good. There's Melissa. Thanks for being here, Melissa. I knew you were there somewhere. Um, but yeah, so Melissa loves Coco as well. I'd love to hear that. I don't Grand Fiesta reimagine. I guess you're saying I don't want it reimagined. Um, I I hear you on that, and for what I know about you all, I know you don't like a lot of changes. I don't like changes either. If I understand that right, do so. There he says, do Coco somewhere else in Disney. Yeah, I hear you on that. I really do. I just think, this is the guy whose favorite Disney character is Donald Duck. I don't want Donald to lose his only I guess he really is a prominent part of PhilharMagic, but his a prominent ride for him. But I think it needs a little something to kind of kick it up a notch. With a lot of attention going over there to Remy's, to the new Mary Poppins ride eventually over in the world. I'm talking about the World Showcase, to the Frozen Ever After. They're going to need something to kind of spread the crowds out in there in terms of ride access. So I think that would help it a lot. So I love the Coco float from what they can do with it, hopefully in terms of aesthetics, but what they also, the fact that they're using it more in the parks, I think is amazing. Melissa even says she watched it again this past weekend. I have not watched it since I saw it in theaters, but it is the best Pixar movie out there. Pamela also says, I love Coco, too. It's a beautiful, beautiful story, as well as reminds me of my grandma, who I sadly lost when I was 10 years old. So see, look, just Disney finds a way to tug at our heart. Even if you don't directly connect with the movie you're watching, it somehow finds a way to get you every time, doesn't it? If you can watch that scene with Hector and Coco as a little girl, and not just right here, man, I don't know, I can't help you. Just can't help you. Anyway, so there's that. Coco is great and does deserve a ride, though. Yes, I think we can both agree on that one there. All right, so here we are at the number one on my opinion ranking of the concept art. That's a lot of descriptors here for Magic Happens Parade Float coming to Disneyland. We're talking about number one here. Myers and the Mouse is here. What's going on? Thank you guys for being here. Everyone say hello to Myers and the Mouse in the chat. That's 10 people on the chat tonight, so I'll tell you this much. I've been pitching this a lot on these Monday night streams. If we ever reach 10, I have a little function that I want to make available to everybody, but this is actually one of the few times we've reached 10 in a live stream. So on this stream, on Trivia Night, we normally do that. But if it happens again, I'll be prepared next week. We'll go do something kind of cool that you can be a part of the show next time. But anyway, some kind of Mama Mouse things going on in there with Myers and oh, Mama Mouse. And I get it now. Now I understand where it's going on. All right, so my number one favorite Magic Happens Parade float based on the concept art. Here we go. It is, I think you probably all guessed it, dun, da, da, da. It's the Frozen one. I think, honestly, this is the one that they show on the promotion art. I think this is the one they're most proud of. I mean, just look at the elements with this thing right here. It's going to be amazing. I'm just saying that. It is going to be absolutely awesome. So you'll obviously probably have live actresses for Anna and Elsa. And you can see, if you look down there in the right-hand corner too, you'll notice that it looks like Sven will probably be an animatronic on the back, but a live actor for Kristoff as well, pushing the cart in the back. There's just a lot going on here. Rachel Fithian, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. I'm here, found you on the live place. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on in and hanging out. We're talking about the Magic Happens floats over here. But yeah, the Frozen one is my favorite of all the ones that have been revealed thus far because it's just so cool. It really is. I mean, look at the horse, water, ice things at the front. I would imagine Olaf's going to be an animatronic that's spinning around and stuff like that. The colors, and this is one that I really hate. This makes me want to see this one at nighttime. And I know this is going to be a daytime parade, but that one is awesome. is just going to be so cool. And I wanted Coco to win that one, but I can't. I got to give it to Frozen. Frozen is where it is at. Let's see. Pamela says, I watched that scene, talking about the Coco scene, balled my eyes out. Did you mention the theme for Thursday night's trivia? Not yet, but a great plug for just a few minutes. We're going to do that. Actually going a little bit longer than I normally do here, just because we've been having fun talking about this stuff. Let's see. Dinner has arrived. Be right back. Hey, don't you ever apologize for going to get dinner. That's important. Looks cool. They look like they're chilling. Get it chilling. Walt, that's just terrible, my friend. That is just terrible. Rachel, the float looks so cool. Get it cool. What is... It's something with our streams. The bad jokes, the dad jokes just come pouring into me. I don't know what it is, whether it's trivia night or it's live stream weekly hangout day. It's the dad jokes. My goodness. Still here, but cannot chat. Well, I really appreciate you guys being here, but you make sure that you enjoy that food for us. But anyway, so that is my ranking. So I'll go back through it real quick, show you guys the little graphics I brought up to kind of remind you of what, and actually while I'm doing this, everybody right now in the chat who can, because I think Myers and the Mouse is busy eating. So understandable there. What is your favorite concept art float that's coming from Magic Happens? Let me know right there. So I started out with the smaller ones. I'm calling the tier 2 ones. It's got the Princess and the Frog. It's got Cinderella, Maui, Sword in the Stone. Next up was the Sleeping Beauty one, followed by Moana, which I really hated again that I had to put that one lower. Followed by Coco, which really wanted it to win. But man, when you look at this one right here, the Frozen one, I just don't see how you can top that one. It is obviously the one they want to headline the Magic Happens advertisements and press releases and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it looks super cool, and I'm super excited. I have so many reasons to go to Disneyland, but I've got another one because I want to see this parade. Or maybe they can just bring it over here to east side of the world, but it's over there. Kyle, can't believe you didn't like my Frozen pun. Oh, well, you should know from Trivia Nights, Daniel Halverson and his puns they get me every single time. It's like, I only am acting that I don't like them, but I truly do. All right, a couple of you are voting on your favorite one. Pamela says Moana. Myers and the Mouse says Moana. Like I said, I don't know if everybody was here when I was describing the Moana one. I love that one. I just love the potential of what they can do more with Coco, the Coco float as we see it now, and the Frozen float. But I do think the Moana one is going to be beautiful to look at as well. Rachel says, I think the Sleeping Beauty one will be great. Aurora's dress. I didn't think about that. This is why we need you here more often, Rachel, because you have great ideas like that. See, that changes things. That really changes things. That's a great point. Are you an Imagineer? Man, that's good. So here, I want to bring this up, and I'll start kind of wrapping up for the night. But Walt mentions again, because this is his favorite still, even though it's one of the smaller ones, the Sword in the Stone. I was really hoping they were going to do a full-blown one for this. Could you not see a scene of Merlin and Madame Mim across from each other on a float, and they're shooting wand stuff at each other, and you could see maybe Wart, or Arthur as we know him, ducking his head to just do that. Jorge, hey, I don't think we've seen you here before. Welcome, my friend. He says the costumes for Coco float look amazing. Yeah, I think it's going to be one live actor, and then the rest will be animatronics. But regardless of style, costumes, everything, it's going to be an amazing float. Here's the thing. We can all agree on this. I think this is going to be a really great parade that Disney is putting together. Excited to see what happens this week when pictures and videos start coming in. So I'm sure there will be several people here that are part of the live place that community of streamers and vloggers and YouTubers that will be posting stuff like that. But even if they aren't, there will be ways for you to see it, and I will be watching for it as well. All right, so we're going to wrap up tonight with this. And let me just give you a couple of things that I normally do. I normally have a question for you guys to answer while we're going through all of these things, but I don't tonight. So how about this? When's the next time you're going to Disneyland? Even if it's never, when is the next time you plan to go to Disneyland to go and maybe to see Magic Happens? Post that right now as we go through some final notes here. So these are just some things from our channel for you to be aware of if you haven't had a chance to check them out. We just did a Clone Wars trailer reaction, I guess I should say. And I'm going to be putting some of these links for you all in the comments as we go along through there in case you want to check those out when you decide to leave here. Next up, if I can get to my thing here. As I said earlier, our trivia night last week was about the Epcot shows. If you want to check out that stream, putting that one here in the chat window right now for you all. And now, what you've all been waiting for. And this is, I think, the thing that makes everything, a lot of you that come to trivia night are always excited to see. This is our link for our current trivia night, which means that we need to reveal the trivia night theme. Actually, there's the leaderboard for all of you that want to look at that kind of thing. But the theme for trivia night this Thursday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time will be, not a shock, Magic Happens. So you guys that were here already have a leg up on everybody because the trivia will be related to the Magic Happens parade. Obviously, I tried to steer away from saying a lot of specific things about the parade and just talk about aesthetics. So study up and come to trivia night if you would like to do so. So I put the link in there if you'd like to come be a part of that, and just save that and make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell hit so you don't miss it. Also, come join our Facebook group, Disney Through Your Eyes, where you can hang out with friends and just have a good time hanging out over there. And what is this last one I have on here? I don't even know what that is. Let's see. Hold on. What the heck is going on here? I don't know. But anyway, that's going to be the last one that I have for you guys tonight because I don't know what those other little cue cards I had ready for you. So that's all the news and notes from our channel since our last stream. So just wanted to share all that with you. But I want to thank each and every one of you that have been here tonight hanging out, whether it was live or on the replay. It really means a lot. You'd spend any bit of time with us. So thank you so much for that. Let me kind of see what you guys were saying before we get out of here. Mouse Talk says, I love a good parade when I can actually afford it. Talking about when the next time she's going to Disneyland. Rachel says, no plans yet. Hoping to arrange something in 2021. Sames. I plan to go to Disneyland in the next 50 years. That's what Mouse Talk says. Give or take a few decades. Jeez. Also says Mouse Talk rules. And yeah, so that's kind of the final bit of rundown there of your comments. Again, seriously, thank you all for being here tonight. Hope you'll be here this Thursday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time to hang out with us next. If you haven't, make sure you check out any of the other videos we have on our channel. And I'm going to send you a couple more links in our chat window. Hopefully you'll go check out Steve's World. Comes on at 8. So I'll have his link ready for you as soon as we exit out of this stream here. But I appreciate every one of you. Hope to see you on our next stream. Until we assemble again, may the force be with you. And we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.